Create yourself a new world, big or small, but make it beautiful. The Property Show brings you beautiful spaces, exquisite construction ideas, easy style interior designing, and we bring you up to date with the industry. It's fresh, it's inspiring, it's The Property Show. Now showing on The Property Show.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of The Property Show, where we make sense of real estate. Edwin Musime is my name. Well, a lot of activity has been going on, and at The Property Show we just ensure that we bring you up to pace with whatever is happening in the industry, locally in the East African region as well as globally, and we just make sense of the opaque real estate market. Shortly, much more coming your way today.
Today on The Property Show.
Welcome to the property update. Now, the good news is that National Housing, we know, has received $9 million that was in the middle of this year, and it received this money from Shelter Afrique, an organization in Africa that is focused more on the development and growth of the real estate industry, supporting majorly private organizations that are trying to ensure that we have good housing in Africa. Now, just what is $9 million going to be doing? Of course, that's about you're talking about 2,250 million Uganda shillings. Now, currently Uganda is short of 1.6 million housing units. Now, part of what this money is actually going to be doing is to help try to establish structures or housing units that are focusing more on the low population or the low income persons. And I know that in one of these shows we're going to be having the Managing Director of National Housing to help us understand better what actually the $9 million can be able to do. Because currently the hugest dilemma we have is that you barely have over 40% of the population affording a house of 200,000 Uganda shillings. And the big question still now remains on how we can move towards having affordable housing. And more in our property update. We just need to let you know, November the 13th to the 14th, we've got the Transforming the Real Estate Business in East Africa conference by Area Uganda. We shall be updating you more. It's of course an interesting initiative that is aimed at ensuring that we've got the industry pacing at a quicker level than it is currently. So we shall keep you posted on that. Now, very interesting in today's property update, we take a look at the different shapes of houses. Like I said earlier, in this year, I visited quite a number of properties and they had villas on them. And it got me thinking, is that actually a villa or that's not a villa? So this week's edition of Property Update, we take a look at what are the different housing structures that actually, what are the housing structures that exist and what are they called? What qualifies one to be called what it is called? That right now.
Just what is a villa? A villa can be very similar to a house in that it can closely resemble a standard single-family home. But villas are known for being luxurious, larger homes with their own gardens, vineyards or courtyards, hotel-like services and water fixtures like pools and fountains. Because of this, villas are known as more private, elegant destinations for people who want to go on vacation but prefer not to stay in a hotel where the atmosphere can be impersonal. Owners of villas tend to have to pay other property fees that people who own regular houses don't have to worry about. This money goes to maintaining the public facilities like the town pool or recreation center. Villas are typically larger than single-family homes. They can have as many as 20 bedrooms and typically have a more luxurious feel to them.
Well, now this is the moment we just go for the exciting segment of the bird's view. And this week we take a look at the bird's view of what the Serena Hotels, Kampala Serena, and the surrounding areas look like from the bird's view. Brought to you by Roofings.
The Bird's Eye, brought to you by Roofings.
I'm going in. Cover me.
Gundinawe, is that any way to cover?
When you have to cover something, cover it the right way. Only Roofing's iron sheets have double coating that give them a much longer life and are made with Japanese technology for best quality right here in Uganda. With Roofing's iron sheets, we've got you covered. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
The Bird's Eye was brought to you by Roofings. Still to come,
affordability is a very key ingredient of a very good mortgage.
And now it's that moment that many of us wait for, and that's where we have the property pick of the week. Now this week, we particularly take interest in this property that is named after the Queen Victoria, the Victoria Villas. There's quite so much class that is exhumed in this particular property, the character, the class, the nature, and the creation around the entire property. Now, whatever you see in the property of the week this week, these are things that actually you can acquire both locally and globally. But one thing they do, they give every man a castle and every woman a palace to live in. Let's take a look at our property of the week, the Victoria Villas.
the Victoria Villas are true castles hidden in the backbone of Speak Resort, Munyonyo. They are exquisite 3, 4 and 5 bedroom luxurious havens. The living room is the first room when entering the house. This room is filled with lively furniture. Comfortable tan leather couches, colorful rugs over the bare wood floor, and a large display case with pictures, books, and many memories of friends and family. Not to forget the enormous window that, during the day, will let as much sunlight and energy into the room as it possibly can. Gleaming hardwood floors in the living room, dining room, and great room. The kitchen features custom-made cabinets, granite countertops, stainless appliances, a chef's island, and breakfast nook with Italian doors leading out to your new pearl paradise. 4 bedrooms, all upstairs. Demand class? Welcome home. This is one of those special homes where memories are made. All-day swimming, late-night cookouts, sleepovers, cars in the driveway, bikes at the ready, sunny mornings filled with laughter, shady afternoons under a tree with a book. Yes, this home is the one you wished you lived in, but could truly inspire you to your dream home. The royal character built in the interior has been designed by Meteor Construction with the genius of Patricia Muhebwa. The villas lie in proud possession of an in-ground swimming pool and a health club. The attention to detail, the character created, the dazzling features simply make this property our choice for the week.
At any one given point in time, it's always very, very difficult for someone to have a pool of money to actually think of buying a house. Yet, it still stays most of our dream and everybody's dream to own a home. Now, to help understand better the wording and the connotation of mortgages, I'm getting to host a special guest this week, Michael Mwesigwa, who is the head of mortgages, and that is with Stanbic Bank. Good to have you on the show today.
Pleasure is all mine, Edwin.
So, Michael, tell us, what are the home loans or mortgages all about?
Thank you very much, Edwin. So simply put, in simple layman terms, mortgages is financing tailor-made by the bank to the customer to help them actually acquire residential property. So simply put, it's financing that the bank gives to clients to actually help them answer all their real estate needs.
What are some of the key things that somebody needs to consider before they actually take up a mortgage or a home loan?
So from a customer perspective, before you consider taking up a loan, one, you need to make sure that you actually are in position to earn funds that will help you afford your monthly installments. So affordability is key. Affordability is derived from what it is that you do. Are you salaried? And if so, how much money do you earn? So what will that mean in terms of your monthly installments? Number two, you also need to know what is the consistency of my payments. For example, if I take on 100 million mortgage and I'm expected to pay, say for argument's sake, 1 million shillings, do I actually have what it takes to make payments? You also need to know at what price am I actually getting the mortgage, and you need to compare around in the market. Where am I getting the best deal? And you also need to know what are the closing costs, because in most cases people actually just tailor make it to the interest rates. But you need to know, for example, what are the arrangement fees, what are the flexibility options that the bank is giving me in case I want to prepare my mortgage early, in case I want, for example, take on the second facility, what will the costs be for me? And then I think you also want to know is you need to change your lifestyle once you've taken the mortgage as well. For example, if you're someone that has been spending lavishly and now you're having an installment in place, you need to also plan your finances. Yeah. So personal financial advice is also something that you need to put in check. But even then, the kind of property you're acquiring, because it's a question of price vis-a-vis value. If you're actually acquiring debt, getting debt to acquire property, the property has to be worth it, worth it. Yeah. So a level of due diligence has to be done to that effect. So,
I was just about to get to that. What levels of due diligence does the bank actually give the people? We've had lots of numerous issues that usually come up with mortgages. We've had some people cry foul play with some banks out there. So what level of due diligence do you actually give on a client or a customer?
Very good question, Edwin. You would want to actually get to know who have the owners been, and can I actually do a track on the history of the previous owners? Number two, does the property actually does the property exist, for example, when you go to the Ministry of Lands? Will this original certificate of title be embedded there? Does it have any encumbrances? And if it does, can they be encumbrances that can be, for example, released? Let's say you actually paid off the mortgage. You also want to know, the person that is actually selling this property to me, if at all they're married, has the spouse consented to actually the person selling the property? Okay, so in case this is a property they're acquiring, what is the value of that property? So that's when you have a valuer actually go ahead and do evaluation, undertake evaluation report to understand the value of this property. Where is the property located? Is it located in a place where it's within the road reserve? Those are some of the things we actually go the extra mile to make sure that the customer at the end of the day is getting value for money. It's not just about property acquisition, it's getting the right property and the right way.
If I earn, for instance, 1 million Uganda shillings, you've helped us understand what are the key things to consider. What is there a certain amount of money I should be earning in terms of salary? Is it that it should be government? Because we've heard of loans whereby mortgages, either it's got to be a government office you're working in or a corporate entity. Where does an average person fit? What kind of level of salary should I be earning? Is there such a thing like it should be minimum this or that kind of thing? Is it based on how expensive the property is? What are the factors here? I'm sorry to take you back, but this is something I want the viewers to clearly understand.
So, like I said, I mean, affordability is a very key ingredient of a very good mortgage. If the monthly installment is, say, for example, 1 million shillings, at least at the very least, you should be earning 2 million shillings, because at least that's 50% of your net take home. And the assumption of the bank is simple. Look here, you have some other needs, and therefore your disposable income is going to go and look after some other needs, your children's school fees, your medical bills, your electricity bills, to mention, but if you need to put some saving as well. So when at least at the bare minimum, for a person who actually earns 2 million shillings, you get yourself at least a slightly affordable home that you can actually complete. Let's say you've been building and it's done. But it boils down to how much are you actually earning and how much is the property that you're buying going to be sold at. And then you align the two. I want to advise the viewers to actually take advantage of the banking relationships, because this information is readily available. And you can also go to the bank and say, I mean, based on what it is that I'm earning, could you give me a glimpse on what it is that I qualify for and what it is I'll be paying, and all the costs that involved in there. So that by the time you actually put in pen to paper, you've done some very good planning.
Thank you. Well said, Michael. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a great property you want to sell or rent? Or maybe a whole selection that needs to be showcased? Lamudi.com makes it super easy. You snap, upload, and be seen by Africa and the world. Post your property on Lamudi today.
Still to come.
Well, like the Baganda say, atanaitaita yatenda nyina kufumba. We take a journey with you in different properties in the world that can inspire something different to you. Whether it's in Switzerland, Sweden, Dubai, Jamaica, Kenya, South Africa, what are properties like there right now? Our record pick of the week in LA, California.
This neoclassic estate was once owned by film mogul Samuel Goldwyn. At one time, it was the place to be. And after years of neglect and disrepair, it's finally ready to make a Hollywood comeback.
I specialize in finding homes that need to be rehabilitated, and I had seen this house in the paper. I walked in and I went, I cannot believe nobody has bought this house. I can't believe it. And every room I went into, my jaw just kept dropping further and further down. I was like, I got to make an offer now. This was probably one of the biggest restoration undertakings I've taken on. I mean, from point A to point Z, everything has been redone. The house had been basically neglected for 30 to 40 years. The style of the house is neoclassic. Neoclassic design basically is a mixture of Italian and colonial. I don't think you'll be able to find a better example of neoclassic design in Los Angeles.
And the cost to rehab this home? Let's just say it was a blockbuster.
I knew it would cost in the millions to redo this house. If I did it for less than that, then I would not be servicing the house. So when you walk in, you see an absolutely beautiful foyer with a remarkable Bachelor fireplace. Bachelor was a famous tile maker in the 1900s, which you see a lot of his tile in California. They're worth, 30, 40, 50 bucks, sometimes even $100 a tile, depending on how big and how small they are. And people there's a whole market in them. In the old days, you always had a waiting area for your guests to wait at. So you could just imagine this great warm fire while you're waiting for your guests to do their wonderful entrance down that incredible floating staircase. I mean, that is just a beautiful design. On the way into the living room, there was a coat closet. And in that coat closet, at the back of it was a safe. And the minute I saw that safe, I thought the safe was just a beautiful piece of art. I recreated the same moldings that are in the foyer into the closet area, so it looks original. I thought that's a historical element to the house that everybody should see it.
Some of the home's restoration was Hollywood magic. Other parts of the home just needed a nip and a tuck.
The living room was probably one of the least problem rooms. It was just cleaning it up, recreating the windows, fixing the moldings, and really getting my lighting and my speakers in. Off the living room is the conservatory. In the old days, they always had sort of a conservatory, which is sort of like an indoor greenhouse. In there, you'll find a really unique electric heater. There's 2 bulbs in there. I found one online. I'm still looking for 3 more. They're just beautiful. You turn it on, and they actually do heat that room.
You could really lose yourself in a master suite like this. Seriously, it has 6 different rooms.
You come to the first room, which is a study, and that has the Bachelor fireplace. That happens to be where Samuel Goldwyn used to read all of his scripts. Off the master study, Samuel Goldwyn's place to read, you have the sleeping porch. And that is just, to me, one of the best rooms in the house. I mean, it's the most comfortable room. The interesting thing about the design of that room, when you see the windows, is there's no hardware on those windows. And what happens is you lift up a flap, and then you pull the window towards you, and you literally slide it down. It's on cables and on weights. And that is just an incredible design.
You can't have the ultimate Hollywood home without a swimming pool.
That's the original 1918 pool, which was one of the first pools that was built in Hollywood.
And movie stars. With an indie budget, a talented crew, and blockbuster expectations, Judson Rothschild gave this home the ultimate Hollywood makeover in just 6 months.
And this is not the kind of house that you can not spend money on. And since I live in it, I definitely want everything to look perfect.
Well, we've come to the end of this week's edition of The Property Show, where we make sense of the real estate industry and bring perspective to the entire industry. Now, if you have an opinion, a comment, or something that you think you want to see on The Property Show, or a place or a property that you want featured, you can get in touch with us by visiting our website, thepropertyshowuganda.com, or visit us on our Facebook page that's right on the screen. Give us your feedback, because this show is about you, and this is about our country inspiring a great, better, fast, beautiful world country, Uganda. Until next week, I'll see you then. Cheers and take care of yourself.
Next week on The Property Show.
Landscaping is an art and science that involves the creation of beautiful green outdoor spaces.
Another summer day has come and gone away in Paris and Rome, but I wanna go home.